In the year 611, the king, Ceolwulf, died, and the man who had previously been passed over to be king as a child, Cynegils, got his crown. Cynegils was the son of Ceol, and although he was the firstborn son of the king, when Ceol died in 597, Ceol's brother Ceolwulf got the throne instead, as the delicate nature of the kingdom at the time would not allow for a child monarch. Once king, Cynegils continued on from the progress Uncle Ceolwulf had made in restoring the unity and safety of Wessex beyond the king's domain in the upper Thames Valley, and he defeated an invading army soon after taking the throne in 614. This early war is disputed as to where it was fought. Either it was fought against a northern army of invading Britons, or an invading army from the Briton kingdom of Dunnonia in the west. The battle is recorded as having been fought at Bayandon, a place thought to be either here in Oxfordshire or here in Dorset. As ever, we have no real way of knowing for sure. This was a decisive battle, further cementing the now well-established dominance of the Germanic settlers on the island against the Briton natives, and from now on it is increasingly appropriate to view the island as dominant in Germanic culture, as opposed to a population migrating into Briton lands, at least in the south and east, and the wars and politicking between the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms will be increasing in ferocity rapidly as the factions vie for dominance. It is at this point that something peculiar crops up. A man named Cwichelm, by most accounts seemingly Cynegils' son, appears on the record as a king. Historians are not quite sure what to make of this. Cwichelm is portrayed as having a much higher degree of power, influence, and autonomy than any of the sub-rulers which have been working in the background thus far. Instead, he appears to be running in parallel to Cynegils, who is still active, certainly not dead, and it makes it very difficult to categorise. Was this a sort of rule of two? A diarchy? Was it just a well-recorded underking? Was it a sort of regency? Was Cynegils incapacitated somehow? It is unclear, but I think that Cwichelm was more than a simple sub-ruler. He does get mentioned in the regnal lists. Anyway, in 626, Cwichelm, but not Cynegils, sent an assassin named Emir to Northumbria to kill the king Edwin. The assassination failed, but a thane and another noble were killed, and Edwin himself was wounded on the same day his daughter Eanfled was born. Edwin swore revenge and marched on Wessex in force that year, and won a battle in which 5 high-ranking members of the Wessex nobility died. After this, Edwin converted to Christianity as he promised he would if revenge was granted to him. Christianity was on the rise in England in the early 7th century, with the first king being converted in Kent, King Ethelbert, being converted and baptised in 597, and the first archbishop in the country was established at Canterbury. But really, Christianity needs its own video. Back to Wessex, and after their defeat, possibly smelling blood, the new pagan Mercian king Penda invaded in 628, and again defeated Cynegils and Cwichelm together at the city of Cirencester, and took control and overlordship of the pseudo-autonomous realm of Hwicce from Wessex. Penda's rise marked the start of a great struggle between Mercia and the established great power on the island, Northumbria, which sometimes felt like being one kingdom, sometimes two, and Penda would eventually go on to defeat and kill Edwin at the Battle of Hatfield Moor in 633. This is a sign of what is to come, and some would say it marks the beginning of what would be known as the Mercian supremacy. For Wessex certainly, Mercia will be a big threat for the foreseeable future. It is perhaps because of this threat of death by Mercian supremacy that in 635 Cynegils was baptised in his capital at Dorchester by a bishop named Birinus, and with the new Northumbrian king Oswald being the godfather, likely a condition to seal an alliance between the two, because you can't ally the filthy pagan now, can you? Instantly, this made Cynegils hugely significant, as he's the first Christian king of Wessex. Oswald was an enemy of the dead Edwin, and he may even have been an instigator of the assassination plot, having been sent into exile in Scotland at the time by Edwin. A further notable point here is that Cynegils' daughter, Cyneburga, married Oswald, making an alliance between them even more likely. Cwichelm was also baptised in 636, again with Oswald as godfather, making him the slightly less prestigious second sort of maybe king of Wessex to be baptised, and then he promptly died later that year. Cwichelm's son, Cuthred, was also baptised, this time in 639. That sure was a busy bishop. These baptisms mark a milestone in this channel. First, the dawn of Christianity in the kingdom is right around the corner. And second, these are the first dates that we've covered so far that can be almost 100% confirmed to have happened, and to have happened at around their quoted time, give or take a Tuesday. Cuthred is also named as a king, while his grandfather Cynegils is still alive. Maybe he took Cwichelm's now vacant title as co-king. Maybe the chronicles just mean sub-ruler again. It isn't important, and he doesn't do much. It seems unlikely he was a proper king, as he did not take the crown on Cynegils' death. Cynegils finally did die in 642 after a mammoth 31-year reign. He will be missed.